Wow, look at that. This is just absolutely fantastic.
With such an amazing coastline, it's no surprise that many of us fantasize about living in a wonderful home by the sea.
We've got salt water in our veins. Us Brits just love being by the sea. We're drawn to it, as if by instinct. And you can't help falling in love with the sights, the sounds, the smells. It's magical.
I'm architectural designer Charlie Luxton, and in this series I'll get a unique view of some of Britain's most fantastic coastal properties. I'll design fantasy houses in some incredible seaside locations.
Up here would just be my dream spot to put a house.
And meet the people who've realised that ambition to have a home by the sea.
With the 5 windows, it just drags you outside.
What a space! That is bonkers.
This week I'm heading north to the Highlands of Scotland and the romantic Isle of Skye, where stunning glass palaces sparkle with class. Sweeping sea views vie with majestic mountains and hidden treasures found on the seashore.
Wow, look at this. Everything is beautifully done.
Absolutely.
It's a triumph.
From high mountain ranges covered in mist to the dramatic and crooked coastline dotted with deep-sea locks and inlets, Skye is a truly stunning place.
I've been wanting to visit here for a while because, as well as the obvious natural beauty, Skye has some of the most interesting coastal homes anywhere in the British Isles.
It is the second largest Scottish island, with a coastline of around 400 miles. That's the same as the entire Cornish peninsula. But the harsh weather blowing in off the Atlantic, combined with the sheer isolation, mean it's not the easiest of locations to live or build.
Despite these factors, more and more people are choosing to relocate to Skye. So as well as exploring the incredible architecture, I want to try and find out what makes Skye such an attractive place to call home.
Today I'm making the short hop from the mainland across the Kyla Strait, on the kind of ferry which has been the island's lifeblood for generations. From my arrival in the south, I'll be heading northwest to explore the island. There are traces of human settlement on Skye dating back to 6000 BC. Vikings and later warring clans vied for control, and while the powerful built their impressive castles, the majority would have lived in simpler crofts or black houses made of thatch.
Something very peaceful, almost romantic about a set of ruins like this. But actually this is the site of a great human tragedy that beset the whole of the Highlands and the islands. In this little area here, there are about 400 people living in different black houses, crofting, subsistence farmers, growing up on the moors, keeping some animals. But they were all evicted in the mid 19th century in the clearances to make way for sheep, and the population of the island plummeted.
This massive agricultural shift meant increased profits for landowners and, crucially, a need for much less labour. So villages were cleared and their inhabitants forced to leave in search of work, and the island's population dwindled.
And even today, it is still half what it was in its prime, when these black houses would have been ringing with noise and life.
However, in the last quarter of a century, Skye's population has showed a marked recovery, with newcomers arriving and others coming home after years away.
And this influx has brought a mini building boom, creating contemporary takes on traditional Hebridean architecture. And it's to one of those that I'm off next.
I've travelled to the northwestern tip of Skye, to the banks of Luxton. Sharing this wondrous place with hardy Hebridean sheep and salmon farms is a new home that's been designed by its owners to blend effortlessly into its environment.
And you can see how successful they've been, because that little slither of a building just poking over that hillock, well, that's their home.
From this angle, its low-profile appearance gives the impression of an unassuming, modest dwelling. But this home is anything but humble. It's a stunning panoramic house, spreading out section by glorious section to form a linear, one-storey building sparkling with reflective glass. For owners Ian McLean and Robbie Panchich, it's more than just a place to live. It's the heart of their 21st century croft, a new take on Skye's long tradition of living off the land. And they've agreed to give me a taste.
That is a fantastic view. I mean, that is awesome. Floor to ceiling, wall to wall. That is great, isn't it? Why did you end up here? I mean, what brought you to Skye?
Well, we came to Skye on a few times on holidays and seemed to be just drawn by.
We fell in love with the island, and we were captured by it.
Yeah.
We love being rural, rugged, and sort of living on the edge. That wild ruggedness, isn't it?
Fed up with stressful IT and finance careers in London, Robbie and Ian gave them up to create a more sustainable, self-sufficient way of life.
How did you find this place specifically?
This particular spot we just found by accident. So we're out for a walk one day, and we just came across this piece of land and the view, and we thought this was it, this was perfect. We could visualise everything that we were going to do on that piece of land within a few seconds.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
we made some inquiries with the owner, and he was willing to pass the croft on to us.
But crofting means being ready for whatever the elements throw at you. With sun one minute, a howling gale the next, there's no place here for architectural vanity. And with its resilient larch cladding and Caithness stone brought in from the mainland, Cliff House has been built to withstand its hostile environment and revel in all the drama the landscape holds.
What I think works really well about this house is that by stripping the architecture down into just the most simple, like roof, floor, walls, and view, it kind of makes that view much more important, doesn't it? It really draws the whole room to that.
Yeah.
I love the way the roof beams are expressed, and that they come through and every second one lines up with those window mullions. That's just really crisp.
I think one sheet of glass would be too much. I think having this division with the beams, I think it makes it easier for the eye to handle.
Often you try and get rid of that, but here I think it really helps you feel protected.
Inside it's really one 115 square metre pod with kitchen and living space seamlessly combined. The two bedrooms are tucked together on the side of the main living space. alongside a luxury bathroom. But it has to be practical, and the concrete floor ties in with its agricultural roots.
It's just a working croft, so we want the house to be simple.
This is the thing about using proper, solid materials, and when it wears, it's part of the story. Do you know what I mean? I think it really kind of adds to the kind of general character of the building.
Yeah, you get all these textures and marks, and it ages. A bit like a wooden table, isn't it? So,
a bit like a person, you know, like wrinkles and scars and marks, you know, the memory of things that you've done.
But while the house is a triumph, it's only half the great adventure here.
Come on, ducks.
Their brave new life on Skye will succeed or fail on what they produce from the land.
These are Hebrideans.
For Scotsman Ian, who was born and bred 100 miles down the road in Fort William, it's a chance to return to his homeland and put a modern spin on the traditional crofting way of life.
It's quite a kind of undertaking, looking after livestock. What's your experience?
No experience.
No
So
experience.
total novices. We had our first go at using an electric shear on the sheep, and it was exhausting work.
Took about 30-40 minutes per sheep.
How long should it take? A couple of minutes?
Couple of minutes, yes. Morning, Hennies. Come on in.
The enthusiasm of these two is intoxicating, and so is the scale of their ambition.
I mean, it is probably one of the most stylish crofts I've ever seen in my life. It's the triumph of design and beauty. I mean, it's completely designed around that stunning view. So, I mean, I suppose whatever the weather, that makes the most of it. That makes it an event.
Yeah.
And that was our aim, was to be part of the weather and nature, feel close, as close as we can, but still have the sort of comfort and security of being in the home.
If this represents modern living off the land, I can see a whole new breed of crofters coming here to make their mark. So before I leave, a chance to head back into the warmth and get a taste of what the future might bring.
What's this lovely food?
Venison meatball casserole and vegetables from my market garden.
At the moment it's sustaining ourselves, but going forward we want to be selling that to some local markets.
That's a lot of work though, isn't it? Growing veg on that sort of scale, you know, starting upscale it.
Yeah, it keeps us busy.
We're very new to it, so
Yeah.
it's more challenging, but it's always rewarding.
Thank you very much. That is lovely.
You're most welcome. Great to have you.
It is a beautiful house. It is a beautiful place.
Thank you.
I love it.
I love what Ian and Robbie are attempting here, using modern materials and design to link Skye's agricultural past to its future. But there's more to this island than brand new homes. On the next leg of my journey, I'll visit the couple restoring a traditional Highland cottage and offer them a smelly solution to a sticky situation.
You have to paint the inside of the wall with a cow pat.
Lovely. Can't wait for that one.
And I meet the man whose eclectic eco-home is also a gallery for his unique recycled art.
This one is my favourite, which is
A penguin?
on his own ice floe.
Oh,
So-
this is your...
Yeah, so this is the ice floe.
That is genius.
I've come to the rugged and romantic Isle of Skye to visit some of its most remarkable seaside homes. Located off the west coast of Scotland, it's one of the country's most popular tourist destinations. Although it's proving equally attractive to people wanting to settle here permanently. On my journey around the island, I'm looking at how the design of its architecture has been influenced by its connection to the sea.
Now this is your typical traditional Hebridean crofter's cottage, and it's perfectly designed to deal with life in this part of the world. It's built from massively thick stone walls made from local stone. That's to stop the wind and the water driving through the structure. It would have been made from lime that was locally slaked from seashells. The roof would have been thatched, held down by a big net to stop it blowing away in the wind, now replaced by this functional corrugated iron. And with these small windows and a low profile, so it's tucked out of the wind, it's perfectly evolved for this extreme climate.
Over the centuries, these houses were home to subsistence farmers. Crofters who tilled strips of land which, if they were lucky, ran down to the sea, where they could also fish. Today, I'm on my way to meet a couple in the thick of restoring one of these classics of Scottish design. They've asked for a bit of design advice on a more futuristic part of their master plan. Jason and Sarah Bold have swapped their cramped and busy lives in London for this. A huge slice of beautiful real estate at the head of one of the most picturesque peninsulas Skye has to offer. For a bargain £250,000, they've snapped up an enviable 24 acres, which stretches from coast to coast, including crofts and various outbuildings. And of course, they've even got their own private beach.
So you were living in London, you made this decision to move, so you've just moved up here and are starting again.
Yeah.
The thought of it beforehand was the hardest part, wasn't it? Planning it, and then, but then now that we're actually here, it was like there's no looking back, really.
I think what Skye kind of gave us was a chance to sort of break the chains of the city and kind of work on our own terms.
Jason and Sarah's careers were in art and design, but here they're getting into property in a big way. As well as restoring their own croft, they're also planning to build 2 more modern houses on the land, creating a holiday-let business which will keep them self-sufficient. First, they've been trying to get their own house in order, and it's already proving more demanding than they thought.
What did you have to do to make this work, to transform the character?
Knocked down a really ugly porch at the front of the house, and then we pretty much had to sort of strip it back.
I think as we started to unearth and pick away, the old lime mortar came.
I had a house like that once. It's kind of painful, isn't it? It's like, I've bought this as everything falls down.
Exactly. Should have just knocked it down and built again.
But still, you know, it's got character, hasn't it? I mean, it's like it's still one of the proper sort of crofters' houses.
Yeah.
Downstairs, the couple have updated the compact kitchen diner and lounge. And although the place appears solid from the outside, the interior was falling apart.
This whole first floor had to be replaced throughout the house.
You were standing here and there was nothing, just straight up to the roof.
Straight up to the roof. See.
But right back to the original stone, which was really tempting to try and keep it all, but just too much work. And
it also sucks the light a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you leave it
and
raw
the heat.
And the heat.
Yeah.
Jason and Sarah are making steady progress, albeit with some indecision around paint colours, something I can relate to. But I've spotted a problem which no amount of emulsion can cover up.
I've noticed you've got a tar problem on your wood burner.
Yeah, I think it's an age-old problem.
I know what you need to do for that, and it's not very pleasant.
Right.
Over the years, the alkaline soot and smoke has seeped into the stone chimney, and now it's coming out. The remedy is to add an acidic wash, and the best way is also the most bizarre.
When I've done it in the past, the traditional way, you're going to like this, is a cow pat poultice.
Lovely. Can't wait for that one.
You have to paint the inside of the wall and here where it's coming out with the cow pat, and it rebalances the pH, the acidity and alkalinity, and it should stop it driving through. So good luck with that one, guys.
Thanks very much. You come and wash it off for us.
No, you send me a postcard, tell me how it went.
And just in case I'm talking a load of old bull, they should talk to a local to see if there's an alternative traditional Skye remedy. In a 99 metre squared house, size was the key challenge that Jason and Sarah faced when they took on the renovation. With 2 young children, the couple have had to be creative with with a limited room upstairs.
So you've got a lovely bedroom in there.
That's our little girl's bedroom, which is pretty much as it was.
1, 2, 3 bedrooms. And a bathroom. That's a neat piece of space planning.
Yeah, every inch.
Jason and Sarah have so far spent £80,000 renovating their home, and it's great to see an old croft like this being rejuvenated for modern family life. But I'm also keen to hear how they intend to make the rest of the land work.
These are your plans for the 2 holiday lets?
That's right, yeah. We're going to build a sort of a dwelling on the top of the little rocky escarpment. We're looking at 1-bedrooms and just trying to sort of play with the indoor-outdoor space.
So I like the fact you get that splay. So this is almost like a massive kind of viewing cannon, if you like,
Yeah.
and the roof angles up to make, so not only is that room kind of opening out towards the viewing plan, but in section.
That's right.
It's lifting up, so you're really at the end of this kind of funnel.
These designs are exciting, but their budget is tight. So I think one of the keys to success will be minimising day-to-day running costs, like energy bills.
How are you going to heat them?
For the comfort and luxury, one is underfloor heating.
I think if I were looking to do this, I would really push the insulation, sort of that thick, and then possibly just go for electric.
Would you still have stoves in them though, like a burner or anything? Because that's part of the charm of coming to Scotland, really, have a fire, don't you?
You only ever use it the first night you get there, because otherwise you just literally sat in your pants. You know, it's like how to make a little house a sauna, light a fire, because they don't need the heat. But I would have thought you could build them quite cheaply if you're really careful about your build techniques.
Okay, no, good advice. Great.
But they're very nice. I'll come and stay in them when they're done.
Brilliant.
With a location like this, Jason and Sarah shouldn't have any problems attracting holidaymakers to this beautiful spot. And I'll bet a few of those will want to follow in their footsteps and come and stay for good. There are almost 18,000 crofts in Scotland, averaging 5 hectares each. They can be picked up for as little as £60,000, although they rarely come on the market. And strict rules mean the owners must live on or very near the land. But crofts are only part of the Skye picture. There are plenty of other options available for anyone considering a move. If it's a project you're after, all 4 of these pretty former workmen's cottages are up for sale in the village of Ardvassar. Known as the Red Houses, they're in various states of disrepair, but they have wonderful views of the sea. The entire terrace, which has a checkered history, including use as a poorhouse and salt store, has all the right ingredients for potential restorers with 150 grand to spare. The picturesque harbourside town of Portree is the largest on the island. A few miles outside is this 4-bed Scots baronial manor house for anyone hoping to become monarch of the Glen. With a galleried hall and 3 reception rooms, it's on the market for a princely £800,000. The village of Broadford is on the southern tip of the island, known as the Garden of Skye. Food for thought here is this 100-year-old 3-bed detached. Built of local stone and just a short walk from the sea, it's currently run as a bed and breakfast. An offer of £242,000 could see you booked in for good. For countless generations, Skye has revelled in its remoteness. Self-reliance has always been a watchword here, and a major deciding factor in where and how islanders choose to live.
What draws many people to Skye is a sense of escaping from the hustle and bustle of 21st century life. For many, it's about a simple, natural, stripped-back existence. And that is definitely the thinking behind the next house I'm visiting here on the island.
Living in harmony with nature is the song being sung here. Not just taking, but giving back. From the carefully arranged allotment, to the water supply straight from the babbling brook. This is a place where the owner is trying to create his own land of milk and honey. Beeds Francis is a man who's turned his back on the modern world. And his house doesn't just represent his home. It's an architectural embodiment of his alternative way of life.
Environmental concerns are very core to your sort of existence.
Absolutely. Well, the whole croft, everything about the croft, you know, it's all organic.
So this house is super low impact, super sustainable.
Absolutely. Everything's reclaimed or local.
Bede's flight from consumer culture has taken him to many places. But when he chanced on the remote folds of Loch Carroy on Skye's west coast, he immediately felt at home. But the ebb and flow of current and tide mean this seemingly pristine environment is being blighted by the flotsam and jetsam of modern life.
About 7 or 8 years ago, we had a massive hurricane, and it drew my attention to the fact that the beaches around here are covered in plastic. And so what I've been doing in the last couple of years is drawing attention to the rubbish on the beach by making comedy plastic animals. I walk along and I look at something, I think chicken, or chicken or tortoise.
And this unusual menagerie now adds a quirky charm to Bede's home.
Are these some of your creations here?
Yes, and this one is my favourite, which is
A penguin
on his own ice floe.
Oh, so, this is the ice floe?
Yeah, so this is the ice floe.
What's that?
A bird chasing a fish.
That is genius!
But this playful handiwork is just a taster of Bede's incredible commitment to recycling.
This is the house that you basically built this yourself.
That's right.
Later I'll discover just what an extraordinary home Bede's has created in this idyllic location.
Everywhere you look, there's just a little bit of creativity just sparking.
And as I continue to soak up the heritage of this wonderful coastline, there's a chance to explore the ancestral home of one of Scotland's oldest and most famous clans.
If you're called MacDonald, you've at some stage had an ancestor that comes from somewhere in this part of the world. And that's fascinating, and I just love everything about Skye.
I'm on the Isle of Skye, the rugged 670 square mile jewel on Scotland's west coast. Here I've seen a dramatic new take on the traditional Highland croft and visited a lime-washed white house being renovated into a compact family home. Now I'm at the sheltered end of Loch Carroy, where beachcomber Bedes Francis has created his own self-built, eco-friendly croft that's packed full of surprises.
And here we are.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah, this is my little house.
God, small but really, there's loads going on, isn't there?
That's right.
It's a riot of found and recycled objects. From the handcrafted table made from walnut and maple, to the waxed hazel branches on the mezzanine floor. The wood-fired stove supplies plentiful hot water to a bath that's in keeping with the house's eccentric nature. It's part of the lounge.
So what was here when you got the place?
So when we first got the croft, there was a little broken down bothy, which in your terms would be a shed, which was completely knackered. We knocked it down and reused the stone to make the walls.
So you took the stone walls right down
to the ground and redug out all the foundations.
Yeah. And then built them all back up again in the same technique the original building was built.
Pretty much, I would say, yeah. And then used local timbers. This is all Douglas fir timber. Built everything from that, and whatever was left made the doors and the windows. The roof, reclaimed slates, Ballahooly slates, which are the local slates to this area of the world, reclaimed off another building.
It's a tiny house insulated with sheep's wool, which has a modest kitchen and a single bedroom.
I see. That's a nice little cosy room, isn't it?
It's lovely and warm up there, you see, because
all the heat rises
that's
up in
right,
winter.
Absolutely.
But that's all Bede's needs. It really is that simple.
I mean, tell you what I love? It's like this really is a proper 21st century crofter's home because you've built it yourself, which traditionally crofters' cottages would have been, but you've just got a bit better stuff than they would have originally had.
That's true. The only difference from the old crofters' houses is we don't have any animals in here apart from the dog.
Right,
See,
and they would have had the animals in them.
They'd have had cows in here and, you know, they'd have had a partition and they had the cows in one end and the winter.
For the warmth as well as
That's right. But, as you say, it is a croft house and it's on a working croft.
Beautifully put together. I mean, everywhere you look, there's just a little bit of creativity just sparking. Everything, like the little antlers holding up the shelves.
Absolutely.
Everything is beautifully done.
Absolutely.
It's a triumph.
But I wonder in this crowded world if this kind of self-sufficient utopia is becoming harder to attain.
Do you think that your lifestyle is sort of specific? You could only really live it here on Skye?
In this form, because the way crofting works, so, you know, the croft itself is a very cheap piece of land. The rents for croft is very cheap. So if you did it in Sussex or something, your rents would be a lot higher. And do you see what I mean?
So this lifestyle, this crofting lifestyle that you've kind of reinterpreted for the 21st century is sort of unique to this part of the world?
I would say so, yeah. And it's up to you to make what you do with it.
Well, sat here with the sun playing on the loch out there and this view, I think this is a pretty good way of life.
Getting the chance to build a house on his own terms and live a lifestyle of his own choice has been key to Bede's decision to put down roots here. But making your mark on Skye can take years, even generations. The sprawling country estate of Kinloch Lodge is the ancestral home of one of Scotland's oldest and largest clans, the MacDonalds. The current Lord and Lady MacDonald can trace its ownership back to 1620.
I'm High Chief of Clandonald. We've always had our homeland here on Skye. Because we are such a large clan, we're the only clan that does actually have a High Chief with sub-chiefs underneath and dozens of chieftains.
Kinloch Lodge is part of a family estate which once included most of southern Skye. As well as doubling up as Lord and Lady MacDonald's family home, it's been run as a hotel since 1970.
It is such a lovely spot with the sea just right down there within 200 yards of the front door.
And the
lovely
hill.
hills, yes, up there where you see the eagles sometimes soaring above there. Flora, the fauna, everything. It is the most amazing spot.
With an unshakable pride in both his birthplace and ancestry, Lord MacDonald is well aware that for many people, Kinloch Lodge represents something of a shared home.
We get people coming from all over the world to see where they belong to. If you're called MacDonald, you've at some stage had an ancestor that comes from somewhere in this part of the world. And that's fascinating. And I just love everything about Skye.
You can't live and bring a family up here and not feel a love for it.
Over the years, Kinloch Lodge has had to take on many roles, from farmhouse to shooting lodge, home to hotel. But there's never been room for sentiment, especially when the hotel began to grow.
As soon as the children got old enough to leave the nest, their bedrooms became hotel bedrooms.
It's so sad. I mind it.
But needs must.
Needs must.
Yeah.
Kinloch Lodge will always be bound by its history. Among the portraits lining the walls is Sir Alexander MacDonald, The man who, while in this house, refused to send his soldiers to help Bonnie Prince Charlie in the 1745 rebellion, an act which seriously weakened Scotland's challenge for independence.
It did definitely alter the course of history, because in those days we could have probably fielded about 6,000 men, which would have made a tremendous difference. So I think it was probably a case of rather support what is likely to be the winning side.
Being in charge of such an historic part of Skye's heritage comes with responsibilities, but also tremendous privileges.
I love it. I love the feeling of being able to open my home to people that come in and enjoy it the way I've enjoyed it all these years. Skye will always be my home. Having been born and brought up here, I could never look on anywhere else as a home.
For someone who loves the outdoors, it's easy to understand why Skye holds such a magnetic appeal. And as I continue my journey, I find a place on this incredible coastline where I'd love to create my own fantasy croft.
This idea of being in the greenhouse with a fire, and you can grow all your vegetables. You know, you get that lovely smell in a greenhouse when the tomatoes are growing, and it's just this smell of life.
And I visit a cosy contemporary home on Skye's northern tip that's managed to win over the most weather-shy of islanders.
Hannah doesn't like the wind that much.
Why do you live on Skye?
I've changed my mind the last couple of years.
I could spend months happily cast away on this wonderful island of Skye. I'm on the final leg of my journey after visiting some fantastic homes by the sea. From contemporary agricultural chic that's giving the traditional crofting way of life a modern update, to the rustic charm of a recycled, lochside home. So given the chance to become the laird of my own fantasy manor, I've chosen the misty banks of Loch Dunvegan to design the kind of home I think would suit this place best.
One of the things that I really love about the Hebrides and Skye are the old black houses. You know, the very simple, low stone buildings, and the way that they really feel like they're kind of just grown out of the landscape, sort of formed by the weather. I think the idea of this kind of contemporary crofting seems very sort of important, you know, for a lot of the people who are here. And so what I'm proposing is to create a low single-story structure tucked along the hill there. And the reason I've chosen this location is because this is actually facing south, so that you get the sun coming into the front of this building.
This home is all about contrast. I'd have dark local slate on the roof, and the stone walls would be a bright white render. But this sturdy, solid section is only half the story when it comes to my ideal Skye house.
The counterpoint to that would be this big, glassy greenhouse. But it would be connected to your house, so you would leave straight from the kitchen. You can just walk straight through.
My connected greenhouse will be made of toughened glass. Thanks to passive solar gain, it will help heat the house, as well as being a mini market garden, packed full of seasonal fruit and veg.
You know, for much of the year, it's really windy and cold, but this idea of being in the greenhouse with a fire, you could eat out there for much more of the year than you can otherwise. And you can grow all your vegetables. You know, you get that lovely smell in a greenhouse when the tomatoes are growing, and it's just this smell of life as things kind of use the sun and grow. That would come flooding into the kitchen, into the house. So you've got the heaviness and the weight and the solidity of those kind of bomb-proof black houses. And then next to it, this kind of glass version of the black house. So it's the light and the dark. It's sort of simple, stripped back. But I think that sort of suits the island in many ways.
I'd love to build my dream home here. And that yearning to create an enduring legacy resonates strongly with the final house I'm visiting on Skye, in the tiny village of Hallen on the island's northern shore. It's a house which has filtered centuries of island living and come up with a stunning new template of its own. It's Scottish farmstead meets Viking longhouse. This home belongs to the exiled islander Jimmy Lawson and his Danish wife Hanne, who work for the Council of Europe in Strasbourg.
So Jimmy, you're from the island originally, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, grew up on the island, ran away when I was 17. When you've been brought up in a place like this, it's almost essential to get back, feel the sea air, the wind.
And you're originally from Denmark?
I'm from Copenhagen.
From Copenhagen, from the city?
From the city.
So this is quite a change from city life.
It is a real change. I went to Norway when I was 2 years old, and since then I haven't been to a place like this. Mountains and views, and it was fantastic.
This contemporary cabin is built for fair weather and foul. Stylishly asymmetrical, its horizontal lines of weatherproof larch cleverly conceal all the gutters and downpipes. And with its Swedish steel roof and sturdy Norwegian windows, it's a house built to last. When you first saw the kind of the concepts of this quite stripped back, dare I say quite austere sort of timber, very simple materials, what was your kind of initial response to that?
Well, initially my idea was that this would be a nice little white house, like many of the houses along the coastline here. And then the architects talked to us about a large rain screen for the house. Initially I was a little bit concerned about that. And then when they explained the way the wood would age as it changed to silver, it fits in with the area. And in many ways I find that it looks very much like an old traditional black house.
One clever trick is to use large windows so that they pull in all available light, ensuring the inside is bright no matter how gloomy the weather conditions. The interiors sparkle with Hanne's Scandinavian chic, all put together with an understated charm. That looks like a Danish stove to me.
It is.
You've got the porcelain lights, Jakobsen chair. These are Danish, these sofas?
It's Wiener sofas.
Yeah, Danish. Notice the Lego. That's Danish.
Lego is very Danish.
So you've really put your kind of cultural design heritage into the inside here, haven't you? I mean,
You can say that.
You like your interior design, don't you?
I do.
Hanne's as effortlessly cool as the home's decor. This Scandi-inspired house is split into two distinct blocks that have separate functions. While the front is for living the view, 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in the rear block give the sleeping accommodation more shelter during winter storms.
Hanne doesn't like the wind that much.
Why do you live on Skye?
I've changed my mind the last couple of years.
I was going to say, I think there's a problem here. Let's stop everything.
Outside is where Hanne's resolve might be tested. So the couple have installed some very smart design features in a sheltered terrace for when they do get the sun. So this is a lovely sort of evening deck, I assume, because you'd get the sunset over here, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Sunsets out on the Western Isles.
And this wall here, this is about creating a little sort of area out of the wind. I like the angle. I like the oblique angle that it cuts through.
Exactly, it's very nice. And it still gives shelter even with the hole in it. Sit in there, you can see it coming, shifting all the time.
The weather. In fact, I can see some more weather coming now in the distance. I think it's going to rain.
I think we might have a wee drop of rain fairly soon, so we might have to get back in.
Get back in.
Jimmy's career may have kept him away from Skye for long periods, but its siren call of space and solitude have enticed him back.
Do you think people are coming back in increasing numbers?
Like many people born up here, many leave to go to university, to study, to work, they meet people, get married. Most of the people, at least that I know, who were brought up here will want to come back here to retire or spend a lot of their time when they have more time and don't have to work so much.
Whether you're a homeowner with an island link like Jimmy or newcomers building a fresh start, Skye can become an unstoppable emotional force. And as I come to the end of my journey, I've also felt this magnetic pull that's drawing more and more people to this wonderful island.
There's no doubt that Skye is an isolated and dramatic place. The landscape is beautiful yet brutal, sculpted by the extreme weather that shapes every aspect of life on the island. They say you need to endure 2 winters up here to know if you're a stayer, if you can hack life on the island. Now, I don't know if I could do that, but I'd love to give it a try.
Next time I'm in Kent and Sussex, exploring England's coastal frontier.
On a rough day, you get the spray coming up to the first floor windows.
Like Captain Ahab.
Sea spray.
Here, Napoleonic gun batteries are now beguiling homes.
Oh, what a space! Wow, what a view!
There's an architectural oasis in Britain's only desert.
There's an element of Alice in Wonderland about this house.
And renovated seafront apartments shine with Regency splendour.
This is stunning, isn't it?